So I've been successful in getting a Mendeley account and downloading the Mendeley desktop application. I've managed to get the plugin working for Word and also for Google. So I'm all set to go. So let's see how I get reference material into Mendeley and then back out as an inline citation and an entry in my reference list. So here I am on a web page. It's the one we were discussing before, where we looked at He Korowai Oranga. We can see up here the plugin for Mendeley appears to be working, so I'm just merely going to click on that. That's great. So I'll sign myself in. Here we have it. It's ready to be imported. I'll click on that to my library. A little bit of a tick down here, so we're all good to go now. Next thing I'm going to do is open my desktop application. So let's get on with that. And I need to see what we've recently added, and I'd better sync it. Great, and here it is. I can see there's some problems. There's no author in here, and we need to fix that. And the title shouldn't really have Ministry of Health New Zealand written in it. So let's click on this. There's definitely a web page. That's good. That should be the title there. And I know that the author is the Ministry of Health. Just going to put that in there. It is institution, so I'm going to click on here. Publication. No, we don't need to know that. The year, though, I'm pretty sure was 2019. URL is in there. Looks like it's all correct. Let's push this. And you can see it's adjusted all this up here as well. So let's go back to our Word document. One of the statements I want to make is around New Zealand having a national health strategy that identifies Maori participation as a foundation element. But I need to validate the statement. This is a fact that I've stated, and where I got that information was from that web page of the Ministry of Health. So I need to insert an inline citation at the end of the statement that verifies this. So I do that by coming up to my reference tab. Because I've got the plugin all working for Word, I can insert a Mendeley citation. So I'm looking for the one with the little Mendeley. We're pretty sure that the title of this was He Korowai. And there it is. Lovely, I can just click on that and insert it. And voila, here we go. One perfectly formatted inline citation. Of course, at some point in time at the end of the document that I'm writing, I'm going to have to put in a reference list. I should put it on a separate page, but just for demonstration purposes, I'll put it right here. So I should label it. And then I just merely need to insert it. And to do that, I once again in the reference area come across here to where it says insert bibliography. And I can merely click on that. And oh my goodness, look, here we go. Ministry of Health New Zealand, 2019. It's got the name of the article in italics and it's got the URL. So we are good to go. So we're moving on to look at how to get a journal into Mendeley. So you can use it for inline citations and your reference list. My first recommendation is where it's possible, always work in the PDF version. So you can either download the PDF to your computer and then open it using something like Acrobat, or do what I've done here, which is to source it via my browser. So I'll open up the PDF version. Here we are. From here, I can import it directly into Mendeley. So away we go. And it's automatically recognized it. So we've got the right article here, looking at the name, and so I'm just going to merely add this to my library. And again, we will open the desktop application. We will go to recently added and we will sync. and the article has been added to my Mendeley library. So from here on in, I can import it into a Word document. So let's go ahead and do that. In this case, I'm using this article to validate the fact that Maori are more likely to encounter racism in a healthcare setting. And this article in particular talks about institutional racism and some of the ways that it can be mitigated. But my opening statement is to state that racism is more likely and that it's going to result in unmet healthcare needs. Once again, I come up to references, go to insert citation. I recall that Ricky Harris was the author, so I'll use her name. Here we have this Experience of Racism Associations article. I'm going to click on that and push the OK button, and voila, here we go. Harris et al., which means Harris and the others, because there are multiple authors, we can get away with that. And let's put the year in. And you'll notice at the same time, it's updated my reference list. So it's slid in an alphabetical order, the H above the M, that these people here have written this article. It was published in the Australian New Zealand Journal of Public Health. And it's even provided us with the DOI number. So that is just perfect. Notice it's also indented it, even more perfect. The final thing I'm going to look at is how to put a book into Mendeley so it can be used over and over again. And to do this, I need to have my desktop application open. Here I have Mendeley desktop. I'm going to go to File, and I need to put in a manual entry. It is possible to get a book in from web sources, but I found it to be a little difficult on occasions. And I have a choice of the type of either a book or a book section. So I use book when there's an author or authors for a book. And I'd use a book section if it was an edited book. That's the type of book which has an editor, but the chapters are written by separate people. So book in this case, and the title of this particular book is Healing Our History. Now the authors are a father and daughter by the name of Considine. So you have two authors. And I've just hit the enter key so I can enter the second author, who is Joanna. The year of publication for the version of this book that I have is 2012. It was published in Auckland. It's a single, there's no edition numbers on the book. It will have an ISBN. I'll just go to the publishers page and see if I can find this. And we just need to put in the publisher's name. And we can save. And here we have a correct entry with our authors, the title of the book, the year. So it looks like we're good to go. In this last example, we're using a book to provide an inline citation. And in this case, I've directly referred to Robert Considine's passage with regarding white privilege and how it works in our society. So he's described some difficulties faced by Maori through cultural exclusion. He does it by describing the privilege that he has as being part of a dominant Pākehā culture. And he was saying essentially that he would never be accused of being somewhat Pākehā-ish, for instance, of being late for a meeting or having his child misbehave. And he feels in many circumstances this is not enjoyed by Maori. Because I've used his name, it wouldn't be unusual to just place the year after his name, but he's not the only author of this book. So I'm going to have to put in a full inline citation. So I'll come up here and I'll go to my references and I'll go to insert citation. And here we have healing our history. So I'm going to put this in as the citation and go OK. And straight away, Constantine and Constantine 2012. So my inline citation is now complete. And Mendeley has also updated my reference list, so that's good as well. And that brings us to the conclusion for this presentation. We have successfully used Mendeley to import literature from websites into our library, and then once we've got the plugin for Word, we're good to be able to use that material time and time again within an assignment to provide both an inline citation and an addition to our reference list. I hope you find this useful, and I hope, like I have, you find that Mendeley is a time-saving and useful tool to help organise this aspect of your assignment writing. Ka kite.